For me, climate action is a total roller coaster. There are so many ups and downs. If you're like me and you follow the news and politics, it can be extremely sad some days and scary, just like a roller coaster. But luckily I've found so many friends who I volunteer with and who care as much about leaving the world a better place as I do, and that really makes things fun and it can be so rewarding. And so the challenge is finding those people, but we're here. You just have to look for us, be bold, put yourself out there, be brave, and good luck on your journey.
I think we don't have to be perfect when it comes to climate action. For example, I always try to bring my personal water bottle wherever I go, but sometimes I just forget and I do feel guilty, but it's okay. But, the next time I go out of my house, I remind myself to bring my personal cup with me. So I think that's my part of contributing to climate action.
I raised my kids for 20 years in the country, and I was chauffeur mom. My kids were always in the car, I was always driving, and it was so against my own values. I knew that my emissions were through the roof. I didn't feel like there was anything I could do about it. But when the kids grew up and left, I moved back to the city, and I kept my car because old habits die hard, and I really felt like I still needed my car. But I tried by taking transit to work every day, and as much as possible using transit. I felt like, okay, well, I'm doing my part. But then after I retired, I realized that, I had the resources to do what I'd always wanted, and that was to buy an emission-free car. So I did. And driving my electric car, my EV, I feel so light. I didn't even realize how much guilt I was carrying around when I was driving my gas guzzler until I didn't do it anymore. And then I felt this lightness, and the fact that that EV cost me, half a year's salary, that's completely forgotten, because it really feels, I feel really proud driving around in my EV.
So regarding carbon emissions, I think no one really has to be perfect, no one has to be zero waste, net zero emissions. I think we just need more people being imperfect about their carbon emissions. For instance, what I do is I'm fully vegetarian at home, but then when I do go out for special occasions, if I don't see something that's to my taste in the menu, I won't hesitate to take chicken, for instance. So I do get to reduce my emissions a lot with my diet, but I'm not perfect about it, and that's totally fine as well.
I was frustrated that my little kids were picky eaters and we had a lot of waste. But then I started composting it and growing a little bit of our own fruits and veggies. And not only do we enjoy strawberries that we grow ourselves now, but working with plants helps me in my mental health, so I feel less climate anxiety.
I am also an international student, which means that now that travel restrictions have been lifted, I have no option but to take a flight or two, usually to go visit my family. In terms of ecological footprint, that's not the best thing, but I try to compensate with reducing my day-to-day ecological footprint by reducing my food miles. Actually, I try to buy local as much as I can, and I try to buy food that has the least amount of packaging, and I tried my best to make my food last in the fridge so that I don't waste my food.
When we think about the climate crisis, it's easy to feel very isolated and alone, considering how relatively little it's talked about in our society. So just know that you are not alone when you're concerned, anxious, angry, upset. All of these emotions that you are feeling are very valid, and there's so many other people out there who feel the same way that you do. It's okay not to be perfect, because if you try something and you fail, you might learn something about yourself that you otherwise would never have known. So I think as long as you're trying and continuing to learn and growing, then you're on the right track.